My plan was to retire next year, but because of I guess my condition and my motivation and my kind of energy has kind of slowed down, and so I felt that maybe this is the year for me to retire. Yeah, I said I'd still be connected to the Education Center as long as I can, through contract work, through consultation, through any way I can contribute to Kahnawake education. I think it's time to hand it to someone with more energy and maybe newer ideas. 1966, there was a devolution of education responsibilities from Indian Affairs to local education authorities. In our case, it was the Kahnawake Education Center, and the director at that time was Mike Daibo. And we decided that as a team to make Kahnawake education very unique, with a very, very strong focus on language and culture. Since then, that's basically been the theme of Kahnawake education, focusing on who we are, our heritage, our past, and celebrating it in our schools through cultural activities, and of course the importance of bringing the language back into the school system. When Mike finally retired in 2005, I took over the position, and I've been the Director of Education since then. I'm always very optimistic, and I think that I'm always kind of ahead of the curve in terms of innovations in education, which with the admin team we bring into the schools. The province comes out with new programs, new training, new opportunities. We take advantage of it, even though we're not part of the provincial school system. So anything that's innovative, creative, advancing students' programs and education and experiences, we take advantage of, or sometimes we've already implemented something like that. Because my specialty was in special education, I did a lot of work for FNEC and lobbying for special education funding and policy and programs to be established across Canada. And in those early 60s and before that, there was no accommodation for special education funding or special education staff or programs in federal schools across the country. And working closely with the FNEC, we lobbied and lobbied and lobbied, and finally we were successful in getting the federal government to fund First Nations schools across the country with special education funding, with resources, with materials, and I felt that that was probably one of my major contributions to education, not only in Kahnawake but across the country. I've also spent a lot of my time in partnership with McGill University and in establishing the First Nations Teacher Training Program. And we just graduated our last group of graduates a couple of weeks ago in Montreal with the McGill annual spring grad, and we graduated 7 more teachers. And in total, since we began the program, we have graduated over 80 teachers with what we call a certificate in First Nations education. Most of our staff here are graduates of that program, and I feel that's another major accomplishment in my career as an educator in Kahnawake. And it goes back to who we are as Mohawks, that we were communal and we work together as a community, and that's a concept that we try to promote in our schools, that we're community schools, and within the schools we have communities of teachers. even though we have 3 separate schools, it's important that there is consistency and continuity and how we do things for the benefit of the parents and their children. There have been challenging times, and that's normal with any job, that sometimes you're very, very happy with the successes you have, and other times there are challenges that you have to work through. And I think that I've been able to manage to deal with those challenges.